Welcome once again, everybody, and thank you for following up on our podcasts. This time round, as I had introduced this session, we are dealing with environmental issues, and the current meetings that are going on around the world, including the main one, the COP27, which so far it is almost clocking a week, with another week remaining, or some few days close to a week, which will be ending by 18th. Well, I thought that I will probably bring you to speed with the other meetings that are happening. For example, there is the MOP, which is the meeting of parties that deals with the Montreal Protocol. Is a meeting that was in Canada, and so far, like, we are still complaining, there is nothing efficient that comes out of COPs. The Montreal one is at its 37th meeting, and still discussing these protocols. Among the protocols they are discussing is how to consume energy efficiently. Sorry. And also, they're also talking about how to use the methyl bromide, including another proposal on how to curb on the dumping waste from the appliances, like the electron or electrical appliances and stuff, the e-wastes. I remember in Kenya some few years ago, Safaricom was collecting e-wastes from radios, broken phones, broken computers, and other gadgets. And this is part of what is being discussed. We've not even had the government taking such an initiative here in Kenya. I remember we were once in a meeting, I think it was in 2018, at Milimani St. Andrews, with some few members of International Ecumenical Movement Kenyan chapter, and we were trying to discuss while we were preparing a roundtable. We were discussing on the climate crisis, and we were told by one lady who is now reposed in the Lord, may she rest in peace, Madam Wakuraya, and she told us some many years back, Kenya had experienced a lot of ships that were coming from overseas with chemical wastes, and they were looking for an entry for the dumping of the chemical waste and the e-materials. And I think probably the Kenyan government refused for one reason or the other, probably out of pressure from pressure groups like the NGOs and the civil societies, and also the church was active back then, and I want to believe they also took part in this. But believe you me, there has been a lot of dumping that continues, even if it is not the e-waste. Like, for example, even the television that we buy most of the time from the shops, and the mobile phones that we buy and other gadgets, most of them are used. And I think this again brings us to the question of raw deals that Africans have always gotten from the the free market system, because I believe, like in Europe and other developed countries, people rent phones, and they are brand new phones. They are the first users. But these phones, because once you are done in paying the phone, a new phone comes up. They have a way of they don't have the burden of buying. Okay, so they like lease or hire for some time, and smartphones, and they expire after 2 years. These smart gadgets, they have a shelf life of 2 years. So when you're buying a refurbished phone, you are told it's brand new, it's well packaged, and they are sent to Africa, and we don't hire them, we buy them, and so it's another raw deal. Some of the televisions that we buy and home appliances are defective, and these are part of the wastes that we buy, and so Africa has been wasting a lot of resources because of lazy leaders. The presidents that we elect, and the government leaders, and the businessmen and women who import these things, the bureau standards, the laws, including also food that is imported, they are not well checked, and simply because, anyway, there is no good reason. I used to believe that Africans are really hurrying up to catch up with the West in as far as modernity is concerned, bearing in mind that Africa is within her 100 years of independence after colonialism, and the pillage that took place during colonialism catapulted the developed countries. And so I think leaders should have a way of discussing on how the African resources that were pillaged, and the immigration issue, which recently there was a standoff of immigrants, not only from Africa but also from the Middle East. There was a standoff with Italy, and Italy being one of the colonial countries, a developed country, an EU member, a signatory of the UN charters, and also an influencer of the current Western civilization. It was absurd for the new president and the prime minister, and to make even matters worse, a female who is supposed to be caring, who is supposed to understand the home economy, not seem, even if she is part of a coalition government, them refusing, at least for the ships to dock in their ports, and the refugees being attended to by good men and women who volunteered to do so. It was absurd, for sure. France felt compelled, and they did a good thing, which again is bringing us to the kind of politicians that we have. I think the whole world should relook at politics, and realize that we don't have a good political system that stands for the people. There are no Italians and Americans and Africans and Asians. All of us are human beings. And one problem that is happening